It's always the people with the least amount of confidence that are always hating on other people. They always have something to say about what you do. They always have something to say about the changes you make. They always have something to say about the decisions you make. They always have something to say about everything, right? So, why do they do this? They do this because they know that they can't control you anymore once you become that person. So, once you start making changes in your life and becoming this person that you've always wanted to be, and seeing how much you're changing and seeing how much it's changing you, how much it's changing everybody around you, your thoughts, your habits, the things that you do during your day, how productive you are, this will stop you from like hanging out with them so much and spending time with them, doing things that waste your time, that aren't aligned with the purpose you want to fulfill or aren't aligned with the things you want to do. It's just they're seeing that they won't have you there anymore with them in that same spot. They're seeing that you're going to outgrow them eventually and it scares them. But the only reason they're being that way is because they truly don't like themselves. They truly don't like the life that they're living and they want you to live the same way. And it's happened to me before where I go out with my friends, or well, my old friends, they're not my friends anymore, but when I would go out with my friends and they would be like, wow, like you're not gonna, because at the time I was on my gym journey, and they're like, wow, you're not gonna eat anything? And I'm like, well, I'll order, this and this, like something healthy. And they're like, wow, like you've changed, like I miss who you were before. Like, I'm not kidding. They would literally say stuff like that to me, and it was very hurtful because I was like, wow, I'm gonna have to cut these people out of my life. And I truly didn't want to, but it had to happen because in order for me to grow, and in order for you to grow, you need to cut out all these toxic people if there's people in your life telling you that. But if there's people on the outside telling you that they don't like you, or they're not liking the person that you're becoming, or they're missing the person you used to be, it's just because they're literally reflecting the feelings that they're feeling on you, such as they're seeing that you're trying to be the best version of yourself, and you're trying to succeed, and you're trying to become the person that you've always wanted to be. And they don't see themselves, they don't love themselves enough to actually take action and do it. So they're hating on you because you're actually doing it, And that's what I truly realized, because if you look at their lives, if you know their lives, and if you look at them, you're like, damn, bro, like you're really not doing anything with your life. Like, what's going on? You don't love yourself enough to put yourself out there and actually do the things that you want to do in life. And then look at yourself from an outside perspective. What would you tell yourself? What advice would you tell yourself? Right? So you're looking at yourself from the outside and you're seeing, okay, I wake up in the morning, I'm scrolling through TikTok all morning, I scroll through TikTok all day, I don't eat healthy, I don't go to the gym, I don't like my body. Okay, what would you tell yourself? Start going to the gym, start eating healthier, start working on your body. Like, come on. This is something that is super important in life. You have to look at yourself from an outside perspective. You have to look at others from an outside perspective, because once you see who they truly are and why they feel that way towards you, it's going to change the way you think about them. It's actually going to make you feel bad, because it's like you're working on yourself, but they are not, And it's truly sad that you can't convince them to change either. You can't convince them. They have to take that decision themselves. So don't let them hold you back from becoming that person that you've always wanted to be, doing that thing that you've always wanted to do, remember that the reason why they are acting this way towards you is because they don't love themselves enough to take action for themselves. And they see you taking action and they're like, what? Why? How are they doing, like, how are they doing that? And I can't. So it's like these people that hate on other people, it's truly, think about it, they're literally sitting there, whether it's through text or talking to you in person, they're literally sitting there thinking about all these hateful things to say. Like, they have so much hatred, so much black in their heart that they're willing to tell another person those things. And that's why I do not listen to any hate. I'm like, okay, they're probably going through their own thing. They're probably, they obviously hate life if they're hating on other people, or it's just such a waste of time to even respond, to even say anything. Like, for example, the last friend that I had, the last friend that I basically hung out with, we went to eat at our favorite place, and mind you, we had already ate in the afternoon, but we hung out all day that we actually she ended up being hungry, so she's like, let's go to our favorite spot. And I was like, yeah, we could go, but I'm not gonna eat anything. I just told her I'm not gonna eat anything, but she was like, oh, okay, let's just go. And then when we got there, when we were in the drive-thru, she started ordering her stuff. She's like, wait, are you really not gonna get anything? I was like, no. She kind of looked at me like wow. And I was like, yeah, I'm on a calorie deficit, like I can't right now. And so then whatever, she got her food, and then she's like, so should we park? And I was like, it was already 7 p.m. I mean, yeah, it was late. I don't remember if it was 7 p.m., but I told her, I was like, I usually sleep at 7. Like, I'm really tired. Like, I couldn't just drop you off. You could eat your food at home. And she was like, I really, like, you really changed. I miss who you were, like, I miss the old you. And then I looked at her and I was like, maybe we're just outgrowing each other. And then she said something about another friend that I have. She basically said, like, if you can be friends with her, you can be friends with me. And yeah, but she said it in a very, like, mean way. And I just stayed quiet. I was like, okay. And then I was driving her home. She's like, so what do you do all day? Like, what's fun to you? And I was like, well, fun to me is waking up at whatever time I wake up at the time I woke up at 5 a.m. I was like, I work, and then I go to the gym. And I was like, and then she's like, and then you count your food and all of that. And then she's like, dang, I would hate life. I would hate life if I had your life. And I looked at her, I was like, what? Why? I was like, I really enjoy doing those things. I really enjoy having a routine. I really enjoy literally having everything so planned out. That's what I really enjoy. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel organized. It makes me feel productive. But then I sat there and I realized the reason why she said that was because she actually hates her life currently. She was going through a lot. So then I was like, you know what? I didn't say anything. I'm not gonna talk back. I'm not gonna say anything about it, because I'm not gonna tell her, well, I would hate your life because this and this and this and this, and start bringing out stuff about her life, because there's no point. She was already in a bad place. So I just dropped her off. I left it at that, and I never hung out with her again. So it's just so crazy how your friends can literally switch up and tell you these things when you're trying to be the best version of yourself. And it's not like I wasn't hanging out with her anymore. I was still hanging out with her. I was still trying to make time when I already had a super busy day. Like, I didn't even hit my macros that day, I think, for hanging out with her, because I wanted to spend time with her and, like, be with her. And because I know she was going through a hard time at the time. And it was fine, you know. I just dropped her off. I never talked to her again. It's fine. She was one of my best friends. But the point is that people are going through stuff in their lives, which is why they're putting all this hate towards you and all of this. I don't understand it myself because I wouldn't be able. I've never like done a hate comment on someone, commented on someone's post hating on them. I've never like, I don't know, told someone that I would hate their lives. That's just not a thought that comes through my head because I try to think positively most of my day, most of the time. And I try to be in such a high frequency that when people are in very low frequencies, I can feel that they're just in a bad place, and I just kind of distance myself. I leave them alone. And that's how you should deal with it. You should just distance yourself, leave them alone. They're going through their own thing, which is why they're hating on you. They just don't like their own lives. They just don't like themselves. They just don't like the person that they are in that current moment. And they just have to go through life themselves. You can't tell them what to do unless they ask for help. So you have to just let them be, distance yourself, do your own thing, do what you have to do, and don't pay attention to what they have to say, because if you do, or once you do, you're putting yourself in that low frequency which is where they're at and why they're hating on people, and you don't want to be there. You don't want to be like them. And I really learned a lot from this because it made me realize how people that hate just hate their own lives. It's insane. And I really do hope they find happiness one day. You know, we should all hope they find happiness one day, but it's not our problem. It's not our responsibility to make them feel a certain way. It's not our responsibility to have them, I don't know, teach them how to love life. They have to do that themselves. So I hope you guys learn from this, and I hope you stop paying attention to all the hate you receive if you receive a lot of hate or people that don't like you, because remember, they don't even like themselves. They hate their own lives, and they're hating on you because you're trying to be successful, be the best version of yourself, and they just don't understand why they can't do it themselves. But yeah.